You won't believe the insane conspiracy theories that Marjorie Taylor Greene is pushing about the January 6th rioters.
And the treatment is unbelievable. They are told they have to denounce President Trump. They are told that their views are the views of cult members, even though these are men that every single night at 9 o'clock at night, they put their hand over their heart and sing the national anthem voluntarily. They're being represented by public defenders that call them white supremacists, tell them they have to denounce President Trump, tell them they have to denounce their political views, want them to watch videos and read books that basically is critical race theory training in order for them to have this public defender represent them.
And despite Marjorie Taylor Greene claiming that January 6 rioters are political prisoners being oppressed on the basis of who they voted for president, and apparently being forced to learn critical race theory, I don't even know what she could be basing that on. Marjorie Taylor Greene had previously said that she was a victim of January 6th and that no one in Congress supports what happened that day. Take a look.
To point out to my Democrat colleagues that there is no Republican member of Congress that condones the attack on the Capitol on January 6th. I was also a victim in this chamber when it happened, and we are very offended at your constant attacks on us for claiming we had anything to do with it. So that needs to stop.
I'm Rayy Vana, and welcome back to Rebel HQ. While Marjorie Taylor Greene might be the craziest member of Congress who supported January 6th and continues to support January 6th, she certainly isn't the only member of Congress that does so. In fact, today, Speaker Mike Johnson declared that he's going to protect January 6 rioters.
I think the January 6 committee was a partisan exercise. They claimed that it was bipartisan, but I think we all recognize that the two Republican members that served on that committee had another agenda. I think that what we got was a biased report. I think they hid some of the important evidence. And look, we want the American people to draw their own conclusions. I don't think partisan elected officials in Washington should present a narrative and expect that it should be seen as the ultimate truth on it when we know that they hid certain elements. The release of the January 6 tapes is a critical and important exercise. We want transparency. We should demand that the American people do. We trust, House Republicans trust the American people to draw their own conclusions. They should not be dictated by some narrative and accept that as fact. So they can review the tapes themselves. We're going through a methodical process of releasing them as quickly as we can. As you know, we have to blur some of the faces of persons who participated in the events of that day because we don't want them to be retaliated against and to be charged by the DOJ and to have other concerns and problems. So that's a slow process to get it done. We're working steadily on it. We've hired additional personnel to do that, and all of those tapes ultimately at the end will be out so everybody can see them and draw their own conclusion. Let me go to the back.
That was the sitting Speaker of the House of Representatives saying that he is working to protect rioters who attacked the Capitol on January 6th by shielding their identities to prevent them from being prosecuted for the crimes that they committed on that day. Because of course, this is the priority of the Republican Party right now. Protecting individuals who unlawfully entered the Capitol, broke windows to do so, threatened to kill the Vice President of the United States. Some of them brought guns into the Capitol, stole things from congressional offices, and attempted to overturn democracy as we know it in this country. That's what the Republican Party is doing right now, protecting the people who were attempting to overthrow the election in service of former President Donald Trump. But this shouldn't surprise anybody, considering that Speaker Mike Johnson was also trying to overthrow democracy in this country. He, however, was trying to do it through the court system. Now, for a little more on Johnson's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results, here's some reporting that I did for TYT just after Johnson was elected Speaker of the House. She was also a key player in attempting to overturn the 2020 election. So a little more on that from NBC News. Johnson, who currently serves as the GOP caucus vice chair and is an ally of Trump, led the amicus brief signed by more than 100 House Republicans in support of a Texas lawsuit seeking to invalidate the 2020 election results in 4 swing states won by Biden: Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin.
The lawsuit filed by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, a Republican, one of the most corrupt attorney generals in this country, called on the Supreme Court to delay the electoral vote in the 4 states in order for investigations on voting issues to continue amid Trump's refusal to concede his loss. Now, it alleged the 4 states changed their voting rules without their legislators' express approval before the 2020 election, and Johnson acted as a messenger for Trump, sending an email to his GOP colleagues to file an amicus brief. So a little more from that same report. The lawsuit swiftly drew backlash from battleground state attorneys general, who decried it as a publicity stunt full of false and irresponsible allegations. Legal experts also pointed to a series of hurdles the lawsuit had faced, saying that Texas lacked the authority to claim that officials in other states failed to follow the rules set by their legislators.
Now, Speaker Mike Johnson can stand behind his podium and call the members of the January 6th committee partisan and say they were pushing a narrative, but he can't divorce himself from the very active role he played in pushing the big lie. He was so central to this that members of his own party thought he was going too far. Mike Johnson is the furthest thing from nonpartisan I can imagine. So Mike Johnson's issues of the January 6th committee and the information they presented isn't that it was too partisan, it's that he is sympathetic to the January 6th rioters. He supports them, and now he does so explicitly by saying he's going to protect those individuals from being prosecuted by the DOJ. This is not a reasonable Republican Party that you can debate the issues with. This is a party of criminals seeking to protect an even bigger criminal, Donald Trump.